Thanks for joining us today. And so really what this is meant to be is a very frank, honest, and hopefully very interactive conversation about some of the cutting edge ways that you guys can use to grow your business. So, you know, the wonderful thing about me and Andrew and Danny, we're all competitors, but we're also really good friends. So when we got the call to come here to do other sessions, I'm like, hey guys, let's do a panel. And they agreed. So here we are today, and what we really want to talk about, I'm just going to start it off, and then I'm going to back up and sit my butt back down. For those of you who know me, you're going to understand how hard it's going to be for me to sit still. So if I just sort of get up and start running around in concentric circles, you'll understand. Today what I really want to focus on is one main thing. Do you truly, honestly, and deeply understand how you make money? Where do your sales come from? If you can't honestly and truly say you know exactly where that is, quite frankly, you either shouldn't be in business or you're not going to be in business for very much longer. So if you say, okay, but you know, I get all my sales from an open house, everything you do should be all about getting more people to those open houses. You can have everything short of a 3-ring circus at those open houses. If you say all of my business, the best business comes from referrals, then you need to have a referral strategy that really optimizes that particular group of people, right? Whether it's social media, email marketing, video marketing, you know, it could be absolutely anything. That's why I'm really excited to be on this panel with these really, really smart guys. I picked their brains for absolutely everything and a tremendous respect for them. So, you know, I think you guys, just speaking of those two, are really lucky to have both of those brains here on the stage. So that's basically my introduction. We're going to sort of back it up and sort of let one of these guys lead in terms of what strategies that they are using either for their own businesses or for their clients that really help move people forward. So we're going to be exploring a bunch of different options, but here's another thing we're going to do that's a little bit different. We're not going to necessarily wait until the very end of our session for you guys to ask questions. We're going to hot seat ourselves. So where's the runner? It's right here.
Right, Charlene's.
Where's Charlene? Hi, Charlene. Wave, everybody. There's Charlene. The wonderful, lovely, and beautiful Charlene has a microphone because people generally don't want to walk up to that pole and go, hello, and start talking into it. If you have a question and you say, okay, you know what, guys? I get most of my money, or I get most of my clients by doing X, okay? What would you suggest I should do today that can accentuate and accelerate my ability to get more of those clients into my sales funnel? So that's basically what it's going to be like. So you can raise your hand and the beautiful, lovely, and delightful Charlene will run the microphone over to you, or you can just yell it and we'll attempt to hear you, but microphones obviously are better. This is a big room and we want to make sure that everybody hears. Okay, so I'm going to let, which one of you guys wants to start? Danny!
Thank you, thank you. So when I started I think it was around 2007, I felt really young then. I look young now, but you can imagine back then I just didn't have the confidence running around with the average commission price was $300,000, and I didn't feel comfortable like training on somebody and treating them like a guinea pig, because I really thought real estate was like any other full-time job where you go to work at McDonald's, they'll teach you how not to burn your fries. I got into real estate and they didn't even teach me how not to burn my clients. And so I also was at the age where none of my friends were buying homes, which is a disadvantage, and none of my family trusted me. So I was at a little bit of a loss. So I'm like, okay, I have to get out there and really connect with people who already don't know me and find them. So I put an ad in the newspaper for an open house. It cost me $180. I did the open house and nobody showed up. And I was like, wow, this is an expensive business. So then I said, okay, if I'm willing to put $180 into a 3-day shelf life, because the newspaper was a new print every 3 days in our area. And so I'm like, I'm going to put this $180. I can't just have it last 3 days. I have to have it last a month. So I put that $180 into online marketing. And the most logical choice to me at that time was Google, because if a person goes to Google and types in Oshawa open houses, because I worked in the Oshawa area, if somebody types in Oshawa open houses, obviously they're looking at hopping into a car this weekend. So those are the people that I want to connect with. So I would run my advertising on a specific timeline. I would say I only want my ads running between 9 o'clock and 7 o'clock because that's when I felt comfortable calling people back. I didn't want my ads running after hours because I couldn't call them back right away. I also didn't have my ads running on the weekend because if it was an open house ad on the weekend, they were already in a car looking at open houses and talking to other agents. So I ran my ads from Monday to Thursday. That way I got them on the phone before they got into the car. That way when they did go to another person's open house and that agent says, hey, I can email you homes that match your criteria, they're like, no, I got an agent. Even though I'm not like technically fully signed up with him yet, we would get to the BRA later, but I would at least have them on the phone and be emailing them listings that match their criteria as long as they're not working with a realtor. And so that's what I would do. And everything would be a marketing event. So if I was doing an open house, I didn't just like post it on the MLS and then show up the day of and put in 6 signs. I would canvass the area, I would be door knocking, I would create feature sheets, I would have info boxes put on the signpost at the listing so that people could take them out. When I didn't have any open houses to do of my own, I would do office open houses. And so any new agent or any agent that came into our office, if they had a vacant listing, a home that didn't have anybody in it, I'd say, hey, congratulations on your new listing. I can see that it's vacant. I don't think you would mind if I did an open house this weekend. Is that cool? And a lot of people are like, yeah, sure, you can do the open house. And I'm like, well, because it's vacant, nobody's in it, I'm not going to disturb anybody by me doing it on the Thursday night and Friday night. How's that sound? And they're like, sure, whatever. They kind of laugh at me. But this is the deal. Nobody was walking into my office. I had no foot traffic. So I turned all these vacant listings into my mobile office, and I invited the whole neighborhood about the brand new listing, and I was just talking to nosy neighbors. So it was just week after week, an ongoing marketing event. And every week I had a new open house, and every week I had a new reason to be doing my online marketing, my cold calling, my prospecting, all my print. Everything was based around that one thing. So I don't know how we want to transition from this part. If you want to tell how you got into it.
Sure. So I was also an agent up in Aurora. So I was selling there, and I remember I tried everything. I was door knocking, cold calling, all of it. Like when my first day on the job, my broker handed me a phone book and said, start at the beginning. That really wasn't for me, but I remember I was door knocking. Second door I ever knocked on, I got a client. That was the last one for about a year of door knocking. But I was like, oh, this is great. If I can knock on 2 doors, get 1 client, I'm gonna be laughing. It really didn't work out that way at all. But one thing that happened when I was door knocking is at the same time, I ran very geo-specific Facebook ads to that same area with my face on it. And I was with REMAX at the time, so I had the REMAX balloon in the ad too. So I'd start knocking on doors, hoping that they'd recognize me. What happened is I knocked on a door, and then I got a message on Facebook that night being like, hey, you reached out my door today and I saw you, we're thinking of selling. Then it gave me that idea that it's better after the fact to kind of hit them like now they've seen you in person, then remind you again. And I was very heavily involved in the community, like I did a lot of coaching, basketball, things like that. But I also didn't want to be that guy like coaching the kids and then going like, oh, by the way guys, I sell real estate, let's talk. Because it's kind of an important place to do it. So what I do is like during game days and tournament days, I'd run an ad to the school I was at with my logo and that same kind of branding piece. And then I started getting parents come up to me after the games to talk about real estate. So I just use as like reinforce where I'm going to be in the community based on these really specific ads. Like I didn't do it for this conference, but like I've done the same thing for my business. Like I went to like Inman in New York, and I ran an ad to the hotel we were at to real estate agents about me being the Facebook ad. So that they'll see me speak on stage, and then as soon as they pull up their phone after the session's done, it's again reinforcing that I am the Facebook guy. Like I even did one where I took the selfie from the stage, and then I texted it to my team and said, get this ad up before I finish my session. And so they had a selfie, like an ad of me on stage as soon as the session finished. And it was a really easy way to kind of reinforce my branding. So if you know there's a local event going on, you can use those really cool ads to kind of reinforce what you're doing offline. And that's where that listing presentation, the door knocking, really kicked that off for me. It was kind of that aha moment that I'm going to move everything I do online.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys can kind of really appreciate, so many people in this room, every single one of you guys is going to prospect and yet do sales very, very differently. I have never been a realtor, so I can't really speak about that. I've just been cyber talking most of you for the past 8 years, so thank you, appreciate it. You're all wonderful, doing really good businesses, and I love the threads in some of those groups. They go on and on, and I'm like, wow, popcorn for this one. So one of the things, I'll talk to you a little bit about, some very simple tool that I came across that I've used this past year that generated hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sales to me, and it's like stupid simple. In your Facebook business page, you guys all here have Facebook business pages, right? Everybody has? Yeah, all hands up. I know, it's one of those things, oh my god, it's just gonna make me raise my hand. I promise that's the only time I'll ask. But the reason I ask that is there's an instant messaging option available to you. So as soon as someone sends you a private message, it kicks out an instant reply. People think it's magic, they're like, how did you do that, right? Like if you message my page right now, if you aren't gonna do that, like go to my business page and send me a message, say something entertaining and fun, and we'll go back and forth. But you're gonna get this instant message that obviously I am not typing. But I use that as a sales tool. So I make money, so I get new clients, whether it's for coaching or for my done-for-you services, by talking to people one-on-one, usually on the phone or through like GoToMeeting video chat, wherever they are in the world. So what I do with this instant message, as soon as you send me a message, it could be like, hey, right? Or it could be, you have a question or what have you. This instant reply contains a live link to a appointment scheduling service I use called Appointment Core. So there's lots of them out there. There's Calendly, and Book.me, Book.you.
I use Schedule Once.
Schedule Once. So you can see there's tons of them out there. But all three of us use it for the same, well, similar reasons anyway. I can't speak for them, but I'm assuming that for all of us, we need to talk to people. That's how we make sales. That's what the beginning when I said, do you guys know how you make sales? Do you understand from the I made a sale and then reverse engineer it? What steps need to be taken to get there? So again, with this instant message, it contains a link to my Appointment Core system. So if you want to just message me back and forth, usually the people who stop there, they're so interested, right? So if you look at the tiers of interest, tier A being they're ready to take action and they're ready to take action right now, those are the ones that you really want to go pursue, right? The ones at the bottom that are like, just kind of kicking around for some answers but not really serious, you don't want to spend your time spending with them. The people who usually are the ones that present themselves as the tier A's, are the ones that in that instant message click on that link and they book a call with me. Okay? And the cool thing when someone else, like if Andrew wants to meet with me and he goes and hits that appointment system, there's going to be several options available to him. He's going to pick the one most convenient for him. So one of the things that I love about this system is A, I never have to chase people, B, I'm never double booked, and C, they always show up. And how many of you guys go out and then you have all these prospects, and prospect after prospect says, sure, I'll meet with you, and they don't show up, or they cancel ahead of time. Now you've already booked that time in your schedule, and now that time is absolutely wasted. What if you could convert even 10 to 20% of those cancellations into actually people showing up? What would that be worth to your business in order for that to happen? And therefore, would it be worth spending, I don't know, appointment course, $40 a month?
Calendly's like
60 a year? Wow.
For one of the versions.
Oh, okay, so I'm using the wrong one.
I think there's like but then I have to do one that integrates with like GoToMeeting, and then I also have one for payments, so that one's a little bit more.
Right. So, and what does your schedule work cost?
$7 a month.
There you go. See, who's got the best price stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what he's like. I know the best deal, like this Danny.
You're gonna hire Dan as a tech consultant.
That Facebook Messenger sounds really cool. Can you explain to them how they could change that message to be an auto reply of any sort? Maybe they have an event, maybe they have an exclusive listing, maybe they have a call to action like post values. So how do they go about changing that message?
Sure, it's actually really simple. So you go into your Facebook business page and you, at the very top on the right is your settings. Okay, so this is on your business page. This isn't your personal settings, it's on your business page. Click on settings and then on the left-hand side it's gonna say messaging. When you click on that, you have 3 different options for what's called instant replies. It's an out of office, a message for the first time people message you, and then for anyone else who messages you after that. So you can create a custom message for each of those, and the cool part is you can actually add personalization. So if I message your page, it'll say, hey Rebecca, la 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 la, whatever, and everyone's like, it's so magical, right? But personalization is something that from a marketing tool, so I've been doing marketing since way too long and old. But I did database marketing. You know, so the people who called you at dinner and sent you all that mail from the banks? That was me. You're welcome. And so all the way back then, it was all about the personalization. Someone will open a piece of mail that has their name on it, But if it says dear homeowner, they're like, bitch, right? They don't, that was a pitch, by the way, P. The other one that I just realized that probably would have sounded like microphones being slightly distorted. And so, so that's basically how you do it. And again, there's lots of different types of personalizations. You can add your phone number. So one of the things I say to people is never call my phone. And yet people still do, even though my voicemail says hang up and send me a text. But what I have is I put my phone number into that instant reply so that it turns into a live link. So when they see that and they're on their mobile device, they can go, oh, okay, I'm going to message Rebecca, and then away I go from there. So that's basically how you do it: settings, messaging, and then you set up your instant replies. It's as easy as that.
That's cool. That kind of leads into something. So that's also called like mail merging, the database thing. So like where your database would have me labeled as like first name Dan, last name Wood, with my email, my phone number, and each pieces of that data. Each piece of those data can be leveraged in your database. So we would use a mass email. We would mass email our whole database, and it would be a one sentence at the beginning of every year. It would say, hey, name, so it would drop in their name. So hey, name, and then we would mail merge the city that they live in. So the Oshawa, the Whitby, the Pickering. So we would mail merge the city. House values have changed this year. If you want to find out what the going rates are, just connect. It's a new year. We got these free reports. I'm always here for you. And it was just like a simple email. And we would blast that out. Every year we would get listings at the beginning of the year. If not listings, we would get appointments for future listings. And it was like, because if I just sent out a mass email and said, the house values are up, you want to find out what they're worth, it's not as powerful as when I say, hey Dan, the Oshawa house values have gone up, or whatever you say. So that technique or whatever, it's also called mail merging.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's great about that on Facebook is it's actually the right name, as opposed to like,
Yeah.
hey emails, or hey pitch. That's what I said. So that's what's nice, is it gives you the actual real name, which is one thing that's nice about Facebook. I mean, at the same time, I like to take, like, why I love Calendly and like the ones you guys are using, is I like getting the information off of Facebook. Because I've also, like, probably some agents in this room have been kicked off Facebook before, then you lose access to it, which can be a pain. And especially with all the changes Facebook's been making the past few months, especially, you see more and more agents for what they're doing online getting kicked off and losing access for a bit. So to me, that's the only downside of Messenger is if you have something like that and be kicked off and have access. So I still like to do things that get them off of it to get their information somewhere else. That's why Calendly is great for me. Like my sales calls have gone up huge, but if you're using a calendar booking, make sure you keep your whatever calendar, because like for me it's Gmail calendar. If you actually don't update that, then it's not going to be accurate, and you're going to start getting double booked. So you have to make sure whatever calendar system you use, it's pulling your appointments out and keep that up to date. Because we've tested with a few clients who stopped like updating it with their showings, and then they got booked a call at the time that it showing with the client. So if you're going to use a tool like this, you still have to be organized enough that your calendar is always up to date, or then you're going to have a bunch of issues with your calendar stuff.
Two examples for the real estate. So if you want to use that calendar linking tool, they're really cool. It really takes away that whole back and forth of what time works with you, especially if it's a husband-wife team, couple, whatever, and they want to book showings on the weekend, and you're trying to coordinate between the two of them. It's like pulling hair, like just, okay, you guys figure it out, tell me type of thing. So in your email signature, you can just have a link that says book showings, and then it will show all of your openings. So you can actually have what is called an action. The other main reason that we used it was for the team. We had a listing specialist whose full-time role was strictly listings. And we all had access, all the team members had access to his calendar. And then we wouldn't even talk to him. We would just book in the CMAs all the time. They were like, surprise, you got another one. But it really removed that whole back and forth and being the middle person between the calendar thing. So it's really cool. Now, we've already gone like almost 20 minutes in, and I know we're talking a lot. So if there are questions, we want to answer these questions. So don't let us just talk. Have we talked about anything where you're like, yeah, come on up. Come on up. We'll just throw like a mic.
Go on!
Good question. I'm just actually researching into bots for Facebook Messenger and all that stuff. And, they're really not too crazy to build, but my worry is around, you can build a bot that almost seems like it's you talking, and you can say, oh, I want it to look like it's typing for 4 seconds, and then say this and do that. And I want to know your opinion on, like, how far should realtors be going with that? Because you lose all the personality, right?
Yeah, Steve, can you just like wave? Okay, everybody look at the guy. He's sitting and waving. He's going to be doing a session on artificial intelligence, and I believe now it integrates right with Facebook Messenger. Yeah. Okay. And I don't want to like spill the beans, but I'm just going to tell you, you're probably going to get a free version of it if you talk to him. So he's got a real artificial intelligence that actually has real conversations and books the showings and does all that. Like I used to use a chatbot, and it was based on words. If they said a certain word, it would reply. And it made me look like a fool because they were having all these real conversations, and this chat thing was just like making me look dumb. His is actually a real artificial intelligence that is going to be free if you talk to him, and he's got a session later on today too.
Yeah,
So.
and even like the in-person side of it, if you are good at writing copy or hire a copywriter, you can make anything seem more personal with the right writing. Like, we have automated emails that go out that we get clients, like my clients reply to it, say things like, I love these emails, and they've never met them before. And that's just, it's a good copywriter who's going to come in and write it to sound better. So there's ways you can go to make it less impersonal like that too, just with the right things that you said.
Just one of the things, I'm just going to say people can see as well. Just to answer your question about chatbots, there's the ones that I've heard of are ChatFuel and ManyChat. Those are the big ones that I've heard. I've heard ChatFuel is a little bit better, but to Danny's point, you can't. If it goes wrong, if you don't really understand how people interact with you and it goes rogue, you can look pretty foolish. Now, they have a lot of sort of things in place. There's also something called Bot Academy that I subscribe to. Because I was like Social Panda is another one. There's bajillions of these things out there. The reason why it's so popular is that the open rate for emails is about 10 to 20%. The open rate for Messenger is 80 to 90%. And that's pretty, then that's why it's like, oh, I want to do this. So, Steve, everyone's coming to a session. And I am too. I'm like intrigued. I'm like, who's this Steve mystery guy? So intriguing. And so those kinds of, those kind of automated systems, they work, but they work only to a point. So you just got to really understand the limitations that some of these systems have, and make sure you sort of like know your limit, play within it, kind of a thing. But yeah, so the messenger bot kind of situation can work. It can definitely work into your advantage, but do understand. Now, the one thing. I almost lost my train of thought. It came back. Hurrah! How rare. A cool system. It's for your website. It's not for Facebook. But you can get a chat system on your website called READY Chat. And I have some clients who use it. I don't use it myself, but I am actually looking at starting it. It's actually a human being. And so someone comes to your website, you get a pop-up, hi, it's Cheryl, and Cheryl wants to ask you a series of interesting questions. And if you say, bye-bye, Cheryl, then Cheryl bye-byes. But if someone says, hey, Cheryl, I really want to interact with you, they're a human who has been given by, again, in this case, my clients, a series of sort of skill testing questions that will qualify those leads as they come in. Now, this is not a cheap system. If I'm misquoting, I apologize, but it's about $500 a month. However, within I think a couple of months, they made well into the 5, possibly 6 figures in commissions simply by the sales they made from this Ready Chat system. So whether it's a chatbot like ChatFuel or ManyChat, or whether it's a Ready Chat system or Steve's mystery system, does it have a name, Steve?
Imri.
Imri?
IMRE.
IMRE. Oh, sounds like a clever acronym of something very interesting.
I'm guessing it's instant messaging real estate.
No way. Okay, there we go. Cracked it.
Did I get it?
I didn't crack it. The point is, whatever technology you use, monetize it. So I have a virtual company. My team is anywhere from Tel Aviv to Thailand, right? Based on wherever the heck makes them happiest and most productive. Okay, so my overhead is technology, but I only use the technologies that I can monetize. So if it costs me $100, can I make 1,000? Can I make 10,000? Then it makes sense. So this appointment course system is $40. It's not quite 7, but it's 40, but that's okay. It works with me, integrates with a whole bunch of other different systems. I monetize the living daylights out of it because that's what I use to make sales. So whatever technology, I know you guys as realtors get like the constant barrage of you need to invest in this, $15 for that, $30 for this, $150 for that. It will make sense for you if you can say, if I take this into my business, no matter if it's $5 or $500, will I make 10 times the amount of revenue because this is now incorporated in my business? If it's a teeny tiny little incremental shift, you really got to ask yourself whether or not it's worth the investment. Okay, so again, automated messaging, AI, all that stuff is very, very exciting, but you gotta make sure it makes sense. Yes, beautiful lady. Where's Charlene? Oh, we lost her runner. Okay, just yell.
We'll repeat it.
Oh, here she comes. That is that awkward phase where it takes time for her to walk, and you like walk-up music for children.
While there's walking happening, I've actually got one of those chat services. It's $10 per conversation, not monthly. So I got all the hookups for the cheap deals.
See?
And as an aside, actually, I use Drift for my chatbot on my website. It's not automated. The emails come to my phone, and I actually just respond to people.
Oh,
I go on my website. But my question was more about a really cool blog that I want to promote it on Facebook. So if I'm going to boost the post to promote it on Facebook, what would you suggest? Do I send it to people who like my page and their friends? Do I come up with a specific demo?
So for me, I don't boost a post ever. So I go in through the back end. So if you go into the ads, you just have more options in terms of what you can do. Because if you boost the post, you're promoting it mainly for engagement. Because you go through the back end, you can optimize it for traffic. Because there's a lot of people who on Facebook, I'm sure there's a lot of people in here who are like this, who they'll read everything you ever do, but they will never like it, they will never comment on it, they will never share it. Like I get people who tell me they're like, oh, I saw you did this, you did this, you did this, and like they've been following me online. I'm like, you've never once interacted with me online, I don't even know who you are. And so you can optimize it for people like that to still read. So what we do when we're boosting blog posts, and when I say boosting, I mean going through the ads manager and doing it that way, we'll look at what the post is about and who it's relevant to. So if we're doing one that's about like how to move with young kids, we're going to target parents. So it just depends for us who the target demographic is for that specific post, but we want to make sure it gets in front of the people who are most likely to actually read it. So it's demographic. Personally, I've used it with mine and my clients. Maybe you guys do it differently. We never target really ads to people who like pages because a lot of that, especially for agents, 300-400 likes is the majority of agent pages. A lot of that's just like your friends and family and other agents. So we don't go for the most part to people who like the page, and we go out just to the demographics that we think will like to actually read it.
The only time that I would do like send it, because with the boosted post, you can send it to fans and their friends kind of a thing. The only time I'll ever do that is if my client has a page with over 5,000 fans on it. Because generally speaking, by the time you're that big, you won't have the ratio of how many of them are realtors to how many of them are like other humans is usually a little bit less. Yes.
But what if the bulk of my business actually comes from my friends and their friends?
So the question is, what if my business comes from my friends and their friends? Does it then make sense to do it that way?
So if they're on your page, then yes, you can do it that way. What I like to do with friends and things like that is actually then start doing the custom audiences on Facebook. So that's where we'll take your database, upload it to Facebook, and run ads to them directly, but then also build a lookalike audience off of that. So what a lookalike audience is on Facebook is it'll analyze your database, see, okay, your audience, they're all into these specific things, find the similarities, and then they'll go out and find more people similar to them. And now you run an ad to people who already like your database, so that means they're more likely to be into the content you're creating.
Yeah, there's lots of really cool custom audiences you can do based on like web traffic, people who watch your videos, your custom, like your database, because you don't have to guess. One of the things that I really love to talk about is the data. The data will tell you a story. But we have another question, Kathy. Go ahead.
You just answered my question.
Oh, sorry.
Lookalike audiences, and I was even getting from people that have watched stuff that you posted.
Yep.
And what I wanted to ask is, do you guys think that that's something good?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's,
bingo.
I don't want to get too much into it, so I'm talking about it in my session later. I talk a lot about custom audiences. But yeah, like your cost per conversion and cost per lead are dramatically improved once you start getting into custom audiences and lookalike audiences. But most people in the beginning, you're not going to have a large enough custom audience unless you have a big database already. Because if you're going off like website traffic, page engagement, first you have to get website traffic and get page engagement until you're able to target them and then build a lookalike audience off them.
Oh, like what's the cutoff? Minimum is 100, sweet spot is 700. That Facebook can verify. Like if you have a database of 700 and you upload it to Facebook, they're not always going to be a match. So you're going to drop off anywhere from 10 to 25%. So if you have like 1,000 and you bring that in and it ends up to being 700, that's usually sort of the lowest end. Like once you have 700, then there's enough data for the lookalike audience to be worthwhile. Otherwise, if you start at 100, once you get to a lookalike audience of hundreds of thousands, they don't really look a lot like your custom audience. Yeah, so the question is, can you tell what the numbers are in your lookalike audience or even in your custom audience, like what the match is? And the answer is yeah. When you're building it, it'll show you. Is there a question in the back? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering, do you have anything in relation to perhaps smaller audiences or smaller populations, I guess I would say? So a lot of things that you're talking about tend to sound to me like we're talking to a lot of big strangers from the city.
Yeah, we all do a lot from smaller communities, so.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of clients who work small areas, and generally what that means is it's actually better for you because there's less people doing it. So what I found is the closer you get to the big cities, actually the harder it is to get consistent results. Like we have clients outside the cities, kind of more rural areas, does a lot of like recreational rural properties, getting like $3 seller leads sometimes, $4 a lead with sellers. You come into the city, you're not getting $3 or $4 seller leads in the city. So it still works, you're just kind of doing less targets. Like if I was downtown Toronto, I'm not going to just target everybody over 30, because then you're talking about millions of people. If I'm going out to like Keswick, I might just do over 30 and that's it. So it just where you are, you just kind of broaden your audience a bit. You're not narrowing it as much when you start getting into like interest-based targeting and things like that, but it works just as well usually because no one else is doing it.
Yeah, I find that custom audiences tend not to work as well in smaller communities, so just go like with just regular targeting when you're building your ad on Facebook, just kind of enter whatever sort of very broad parameters, but keep it really clean, not too many targeting options.
To go where we're talking, it's just facebook.com/ads, AEDS. So that's how you navigate to what we're talking about.
I think it's a question like.
Can you offer some advice on tech ad marketing?
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
There's a lot of echo up here, so it like echoes back, and then we try to have to filter out what.
Can you offer some advice on ad tag marketing?
Oh, tag, so with remarketing?
Oh, yeah.
So tag marketing, I think it's what Agent Locator calls remarketing. So that's just like a term they came up with for remarketing. But basically what it is you put code on your site, and you can do Facebook or Google. So with the Facebook pixel, when you put it on your site, someone will come, and then when they go back to Facebook, they're going to see your ad. So it's like if you ever run shopping on Amazon, and then seen an ad for that same product, that's retargeting. It does work really well. Same with, like I know Danny does a lot, you speak about the Google side, but he does a lot with the Google side.
So the tag marketing is Google. And so what we're talking about is when you go to a website, as soon as you leave that website, you start seeing their ads everywhere. If you're on YouTube, watching a YouTube video, there's a banner at the bottom of the video. That banner can be you. And it can be based on have they visited your website. That triggers the ad. You have to get 1,000. The problem is that with tag marketing, you have to have 1,000 people before it'll even work. So you're paying, and nothing's working until you get 1,000 people. So that could be an issue. The other thing is it doesn't have to be based on them coming to your website and then leaving. You can also target people based on their postal code. So if you really focus on a geographic farm area or a particular part of town or something like that, you do Google remarketing. And you can target people based on their age and where they live. So there's not as much of the demographics that you can leverage, but you really can leverage a lot of things. And so if a person, this is funny, I think it's hilarious, the Oshawa newspaper had a banner advertising space, and it was so expensive. But what they didn't realize is that they were using the Google Ad Network as well. So I just went through the Google Ad Network and I used their URL as my main destination, and I just saved thousands of dollars because it was still being displayed on the website. I just didn't have to pay them, I paid Google, and it got to the same spot that I wanted it to. So tag marketing, it's Agent Locator's version of it, but it's Google remarketing is what it is, and it is awesome. It's all about branding though, it is not a lead generator. So if you're going to do that type of advertising, it's all about building up who you are and what you do. It's not going to be generating any leads for you. But I use it, and I use it a lot, because I'm always trying to remind people of who we are and what we do.
And with...
No, I'm just saying very cool.
So with Facebook side of it too, what's cool about it is you can do it like based on specific pages on the website. So you're like, anyone who comes to the About page, we're going to target with an ad to book a call. If someone goes to the About page of your website, now they're getting to that point where they're thinking about hiring you, now they're just trying to learn a little bit more about you and So that traffic on the About page is a much stronger lead than, say, someone on your home page. So like a Facebook ad will say, anyone who's been to this page, run an ad just to book a 15-minute call through like a link like Calendly or the other ones that we're using, because we know it's a high-value traffic. Or if they go to a specific listing, when they go back on Facebook, they're going to see an ad for that listing. So like one I always kind of joke about with clients, and do it sometimes, is I'm sure you guys have all had that problem seller who's like, I never see you advertising my property, where is it? We will send them a link to our website to check out their listing, and then when they go back to Facebook, they're always going to see an ad for their listing. And we're actually only spending $5 a day. We're just making sure they always see it. Like, and we're running the ad to their house too, so it's like their house, like we know the seller's 42, so we're running an ad for people between 40 and 45 who live at this address within a mile, who have looked at the listing. You know it's that, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money, and you look great.
I want to change tack for a second and ask you guys, how many of you, no, I promise you I won't make you raise your hands, I lied. How many of you love being on video? Good, 3 people, 4, 10, awesome. For those of you, you're lying, Michael. It's okay, we're friends. I don't usually just call random people liars in my audience. The reason I ask that is because for those of you who didn't raise your hand, that really don't like being in front of a video camera, it might be something that you want to consider now. So one of the things people, I mean, the name of this thing is called, cutting edge social stuff. And so what I want to be able to leave you with is something that if you said, all right, Rebecca, I'm going to do something that very few of my compatriots here are actually doing. So if I was going to not just sort of like inchy scratchy my way and get better, what is something that would be like a grand leap? And I'll tell you right now, just from on a Facebook side of things, there's lots of stuff that you can do on Google. Danny's an expert on that kind of a thing. I know enough to be what I call dangerous. But on the Facebook side, there is one thing that you guys can do and one thing alone, and that's Facebook Live. And that usually makes everyone kind of go, oh, right? Like, I like myself on video, they think you look weird, you sound funny, and then people are like, okay, I'm not gonna do it. But I will absolutely and unequivocally tell you that that is your own self-limiting belief. And that is the only thing stopping you from doing it, because we see you and we listen to you every day. You sound fine and your hair looks awesome. And if you're like Nelson, I don't know if Nelson's in the room, but at once I think 3 people came and like rubbed his head. And he was like, for good luck. I was gonna go by and do it, but I don't know. So Facebook Live. Let me give you a couple of sort of quick tips on what I have found at Facebook Live, how to do that well. Because Facebook Live is not a video. Okay, so you can shoot little 30, 60-second spots and you can post that on Facebook. They're absolutely amazing. The algorithm loves video. Facebook has put more money behind video than anything else this year and into 2019. I was talking to a gentleman, his name is Steve. I don't even know, I can't give credit because Steve is the one who told me, Steve is here, that by 2019, almost all of the content in Facebook is going to be video-based content. So if you're not into into doing video, you really need to get into it now. And so here's my strategy, and if you've taken my courses before, you have definitely heard me say this before, but let me say it to all you wonderful folk who have not heard me do any kind of presentation. Here's what you do when you hate how you look on video. Shoot the video, post the video, don't watch it. There, you're done, right? It's out there and you can't judge yourself, okay? So now none of you have any more excuses about not doing video. So if going to Facebook Live makes you want to kind of throw up a little bit, you can sort of, again, step-ladder your way in by doing these smaller videos, and you eventually get used to talking to that little green dot. I did a podcast with Tony recently, and that's like, I sound funny because I'm in my room and in my office, and like I have a wall in front of my desk, and I'm literally about 1.5 feet from my wall talking to it. But I was talking to a greater audience. It's a bit of a mind shift. Couple little tips. I see there's a question over here. Okay, so there's a question over there. I'm going to come to you. 2 seconds. Okay, your Facebook Live videos need to be at least 10 minutes long. Is that a ripple of excitement? Is that what I heard? Yes, that's what I thought I heard. Now everyone's going to leave. They're like, forget it. I wouldn't blame you. Okay, it's hard for, well, it's not hard for me. I have a hard time doing 20 minutes. I speak at 3:10 today, and I'm challenged with the fact that I only have 20 minutes. Okay, so pray for me. So 10 minutes to 30 minutes. It needs to be a show. And by that, I'm not saying, like razzle-dazzle, you come in pom-poms and a tutu. but it needs to have like a regular theme. It needs to have a topic. It needs to have something that's going to string it together. Okay, so it could be, either your real estate corner, it could be something that you want to talk about in your community, it could be whatever it is that you want it to be. And it should be on the same day, at the same time, every week. So it requires consistency. And I will tell you, I don't know what you guys think as well, but from a social media or whether it's, blogging like that lovely lady was doing, or video, or content, or whatever, consistency is what's going to trip you up first. So 10 to 30 minutes, common topic or theme. And you can even have like sort of 8 weeks of one topic and then do maybe like 6 weeks of another. You're not married to one thing. This is your show. This is your time to shine. Okay? The other thing you should do is you should promote it ahead of time. So at least 24 hours beforehand, say, hey guys, I'm on tomorrow at 10, and I'm going to be talking about X. Okay, so you should post that on your Facebook pages, broadcast it all over your social channels and whatever other sort of marketing channels you've got, websites, whatever. Obviously show up at the allotted time, speak for the allotted amount of minutes, and then once you're done with a Facebook Live video, it automatically posts to your business page as an actual video. What you can then do is you can then take that and through the ads manager, like Andrew was saying, you turn that into some sort of an ad. So whether it's a traffic ad, whether it's a lead ad, whether it's a boosted post, so you want to get more interaction, you can choose which one of those you want, and then you can send out that in case you missed it. Okay, that strategy is a classic webinar strategy. So if anybody wants to do webinars, it is promote 3 days, have the webinar, did you miss it 3 days, rinse and repeat. Literally, that is the process for doing a webinar. Okay, so when you do that with your Facebook Live, yes, some weeks you will be talking to no one. That little how many people are live is going to have a big fat 0, and you're going to be like, sadness. Okay, but you have to speak as if you're speaking to thousands, because you're going to do that replay, and you want it to sound like you were actually speaking to thousands. So whether that little number says 0 or whether it says 1 million, if you have 1 million, take a picture of it and send it to me, and I'm going to send you like a trophy. Okay, because that is a huge milestone. I've never seen it. But regardless, that's what you need to do. But be there, show up consistently, have a theme and really share your thoughts. So there's a question just behind you, and then we'll come to you. Okay, Jess, go for it.
Was that myself?
You, the guy with the microphone. That's you.
The guy with the microphone, that's him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm the only one, but when I'm recording a voicemail, reading, and because I'm going on vacation, sometimes I have to do that like 2 or 3 times, like editing a tweet, and then I do it again, I listen to it, I think. So the thought of doing video live, and I don't know if I'm the only one, I'm one of the 247 people that didn't raise their hand.
No, nobody can raise their hands, no one's going to. like 2 people.
It's just the thought of it, how do you overcome that? What if you flub whatever you say?
So,
Try to get it right on the first day, that's what I'm thinking.
I know the power of Facebook Live, but I'll be honest, I don't even do it that much. I do the record it offline and then edit. So you'll see actually on How to Do This, I interviewed Tim Kudak a little while ago. There's definitely pieces where we just stop midway through, you're like, wait, I forgot my next question. And I pulled out my phone, I'm scrolling through everything, I'm like, oh right, that's what I wanted to ask you. Okay, here's your next question. And then we kept going that way. So I edited it, but doing that, I also know I'm going to be paying a little bit more money to get the same views at a Facebook Live. So if you're not that comfortable at the beginning, and you don't want to do that, just post it without looking, just enjoy the lovely power of editing. And then just repeat your question and go again. I have a guy in Serbia who's been a television producer for 20 years, and for $14 an hour, he will professionally edit all my videos. And it's amazing quality that he does. So that's what I do personally. And that maybe one day I'll do my episodes more live, but I love editing.
You know what, just one thing I'll let Danny just go in there. I have a little guy, I've got 4 kids, and probably a student drinking problem, but that's okay, they're almost all teenagers. So, that's when the drinking starts? Oh, yeah, I know. So one of the things that I talked with Zach, he has anxiety, so he gets really freaked out about stuff. And in grade, I think it was grade 2, he stopped going to gym class. He just had this massive panic attacks. And so I learned, with the help of some other practitioners, the art of step laddering. So what you do is, sort of in the case of Facebook Live, You know, if going from, I've never done video to, oh my God, I've got to be live on this thing makes you, again, kind of, right? Then you step out of your way in there. You put that as a goal. Say for example, okay, if 2019 is when video is really going to be super important, and Facebook Live that's kind of where you're shooting for, what do you need to do, and how much practice do you need to have? So maybe do some editing, like an Andrew said, right? And you do that, and then over time, you're just going to find yourself to be more and more and more comfortable. Like when I was in university, the thought of speaking like this would have made me physically ill. I could not do it. I could not stand in front of people and talk. I shook like a leaf. It was horrifying. And you know, something nervous, sure, but it's practice. That's all it is practice. You guys have heard the whole theory about 10,000 hours, right? You do anything for 10,000 hours, and you're going to be an absolute expert. That's all it is. So put in the fact that if I do Facebook Live, or other people here who do Facebook Live, they probably didn't just step into it. It rarely comes naturally. It just takes a little bit of practice. So that would be the only sort of thought that I would have for that, and sort of how you can overcome that. Like right now, that's how you're feeling. It's probably not your time to be on live. But if live is where you want to go, it's just a matter of exposing yourself again and again and again to that opportunity, and then stepping it up a little bit more, like maybe doing a pre-recorded video series on topical, right? And then just try Facebook Live, but do it in like a safe place, like in an open house or something like that, where you're not presenting, you're just really walking through a house, but you're live, right? So again, you're not presenting a topic, you're doing something you've always done, you're very, very comfortable with it, but you're doing it using a Facebook Live environment. So that's kind of what I would recommend for that one. I think there's another question up the front here. Yes.
Is there any data on optimal time for doing video and or doing Facebook Live time? You say a specific hour of the day, so to speak?
There are officially, and you can like go to the back end of your page and start looking, okay, you know, here's when the most people are online, when you post that. But that's what everyone else is looking at too, so there's also the most competition for your content for that. So personally, I'll just post whenever.
When you're ready.
Yeah, I just post. Because if you just start, like, I'm not going to post like 2 a.m. because I have to sleep, but they're kind of like the day, the evening, I'll just keep posting whenever I have it ready. Because if you start trying to time it right, and there's a lot of other people doing that too. So sure, there's 5,000 people online right now, but now there's 1,000 people posting. If I post at like 10 a.m., maybe there's 500 people posting, less competition, more views.
I got a trick for the Facebook Live, yeah. So I did a Facebook Live session this morning, so I'm not going to redo it. What I did do is I recorded it. So anybody who wants a recording of that, what I want to say is just pull out your cards, somebody at your table, like one person, one champion from each table, grab the cards, and I'm going to stand at that door, and I'm going to get everybody a copy of that video. If you're kind of afraid of doing Facebook Live, you can Facebook Practice Live, where it's only set to you who sees it. So you can do a couple dry runs, and nobody's going to see that thing. There's also baby steps. There's a thing called Facebook Stories and Instagram Stories. And with that, you can do pre-recorded little versions and snippets that are polished, and you look good, and you're not stuttering and whatever. And then you can upload little itty-bitty bits, one step at a time. And that's almost like Facebook Live. Not really, but it's like the first step towards it. Yeah, it's the first step towards it, right? And then also, when I am doing a Facebook Live, I'll have an agenda in my head, and I'll write out an intro, an outro, and a call to action, because there has to be a reason for the video. So I'll like remind myself before I go live. Then, wherever the camera is, I'll have in bullet points, in really big font, as if I'm like blind, I'll have it like hanging underneath the camera, with all the bullet points in order. It's not the written paragraph like I'm reading a script, because I'm not an actor, I can't do that. But I can read bullet points and be like, oh yeah, memory trigger, I gotta talk about this, oh yeah. So I use these bullet points to keep me on track when I do a live session. So if anybody wants a copy of that video, I pre-recorded it, I'll just stand at that exit sign there and get everybody a copy.
Hi, I have a couple of questions actually. So I have jumped on the Facebook Live bandwagon. I haven't done it very well because every time I've done it, there's been some sort of glitch. Like one time I was talking for 10 minutes and nobody heard me. There was no sound. I didn't realize it until somebody came on and then told me that they couldn't hear anything. And then another time I was sideways. So is there a way to and somebody came on and said, you're sideways. I didn't know why. And so is there a way in order to test it to make sure that your video is the way you think
mode, but it's hard to test the audio part, so it's really good to have a spotter or a secondary device. So I'll have the other device down there and I'll just like,
And then you always have one viewer.
yeah, I'm my own viewer. Yeah, I'm the viewer. But,
Thank you. And if you can also share with the audience about the Facebook Live set reminder and split live, can you talk a little bit about that as well?
sorry, what? That might be something.
The set reminder, so you can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When your video is done, there's a subscription button, so you could, that could be part of.
Oh, when you can set the one coming up and set a reminder video notification.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, you can just set it.
It's a reminder, and you can set it. There you go.
So yeah, so you like, I'm gonna go live today at 3, and you can post that at noon, and people can, that would be like, okay, set reminder, they'll get a notification when we're going live. There's another cool feature if you wanna like interview people, where when they join your stream, you click add to stream, and then they'll jump on the video and do it too. Oh, what is next?
Do we have a question already? If not, we
Yeah,
have-
how's it going?
Oh, there you are, okay.
Yeah, long time listener, first time caller. Thanks for having me.
I saw it.
We were talking about Facebook Live, and which is awesome. And I'm not comfortable with the camera, but I guess I'll turn it on here and there. But should we like flash forward to like 2020 and talk about how podcasts are maybe more current and maybe passive listening and the ability to listen to audio tape while you're driving or multitasking or cleaning your house and getting information into the future? I don't know what you guys think.
At the end of the day, it's all just content. Like, the best strategy online is creating content. How you want to deliver that can be up to you. Like, some people, like a podcast will be one of the best ways they'll ever get business. And you can do that now, not 2020. Other people, it's a pre-recorded show. Other people, it's Facebook Live. And there are like some better strategies with each one of those. Some might have better long-term gain. At the end of the day, it's who's going to consistently create content. Like, there's people who are still doing written blogs and are killing it with that. Because, and like people's like, oh, it's gonna be video, but I guarantee there's gonna be people 10 years from now blogging who are doing better than anyone else in the room because they're consistently creating great content. So I wouldn't worry so much about like, okay, like podcasting and like Alexa voice is gonna be the future. Worry more about, I just wanna create great content that people are gonna see. And even if you do a great video of Facebook Live, download the video, you can upload it somewhere and they'll take out your voice. Take an audio file, now that's your podcast too. You create one pillar piece. Like if I do an hour-long video, I'm gonna plan that in that hour, I'm gonna be able to create 20, 30, 40 mini pieces of content. Like an hour video, I'm gonna take 30 seconds of it, there's an Instagram post. 60 seconds later, there's another Facebook ad. So you create like that tentpole piece, and then you can turn it into a lot of others.
Video is awesome for repurposing. That's part of the checklist I'm going to email you. Is like when you make a video, you can repurpose that. You got audio, you can strip the audio out. You got a blog post, you got images. And like, video is amazing, not just for the video. Video is amazing for the leverage that it gives you after the video is done.
But like Andrew said, it's consistency. Like my favorite guy on social media is John Loomer, and he's a blogger. He doesn't do video, he hates himself on video, but his blogs are like my go-to. So some people say like, what book should I read? I don't read books, I follow people, cyberstock people, and he's one of them. And I don't think I've ever seen him on video. And he doesn't do anything splashy, but his blogs are absolutely spot on. So again, but it's consistent and I can always rely on him. All right, we got 5 more minutes left, so we'll take a couple more questions, yeah?
I just wanted to commend the lady earlier for sharing her bloopers. I was wondering with the interest of making us all feel more comfortable and the knowledge that it's okay to make mistakes and we're learning these things. Would you mind sharing maybe some of the bloopers that you've had and some of the
I have a blooper reel on my YouTube channel if you'd like to go see it.
Bloopers,
It entertains
honestly,
me to no end. It swears a lot though, so if you don't like profanity, don't watch it.
bloopers are actually amazing just from putting them out and like I'll advertise a blooper sometimes more than the original video because I'll get more people and like you seem like a real human being that way. Like cut out the wooden stuff. But the thing, like I had one which got a lot of traction for me is I was doing a live training session for a group. I was on video and I had a dog that was not the most well behaved. And I'm sitting there doing the video and then it shut it over and jumped on top and put its like feet on my back, my shoulder and started like aggressively licking my face while I'm on camera with people. And I'm trying to like bat it off and it just would not stop in the middle of this video. It just kept going. And I ended up cutting that like 20, 30 seconds of video and uploading it. And that went really far.
I did a podcast where my cat jumped in and stuck his butt like right between me and the camera. And then I picked him up and I did one of these, but he hit my, like he just sort of like glanced off the side of my recycle bin and made this giant crashing noise. I'm like, he's alive, he's okay. Like, wow. And we're done and see.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, like, just fail your way forward. I failed grade 1 and I haven't stopped. Like, I just keep failing. Right? So, like, my first live video that I did was crooked before Facebook would fix it. So, and I didn't know that, and it was an hour-long video. The whole thing was like crooked. And so I still uploaded it because it was the only footage that I had, and it generated 300 leads from me, even still with the crookedness. Right? And then just last week, like I'm like some professional hotshot should know what I'm doing, I uploaded a Facebook Live video and I didn't click off, I thought I did, but it didn't work. I didn't do it in HD. And so like, you would think that I would obviously upload it in HD, and I didn't do that. And this was just a video last week, and that one video got 20 people into a seminar that I'm doing. And had I done it in HD, I would have got 40, but who cares? I failed my way forward. I got the video in there. So just like, honestly, don't worry about it. People are going to see what you look like in real life anyways. So the video is not going to hide much. So just keep failing.
And that's they want to see that. They want to see your failures because they want to know you're just like them, right? Like that you can fail and they can fail and it's okay. And I prefer, I mean, every failure is just success turned sideways, and it's another way for you to kind of just pivot and kind of go, okay, well, that didn't work. There's losing and there's failing. Losing is not trying. Failing is trying, it just didn't work that time, right? That's the difference, and I think that, you know, based on what all of us, I think, have experienced, you know, we all failed our way forward. I reinvent myself every 12 to 18 months. Right? Stuff works, stuff doesn't. You kind of go, ooh, that didn't work, and pretend it's not there anymore. But you keep on moving forward.
Pro tip, if you're doing a lot of video from like here up, you're doing the newscast and no pants method, if you get up in your video, remember you're not wearing pants.
Always really funny. So we got just under 2 minutes left. Do you guys have any final thoughts you want to share with everybody in terms of, oh, one last question. All right.
So I'm from Toronto. I just did a couple of videos, and the first one I did was, it was sort of a complaining video. It was me walking around outside, complaining about my day, talking about being a real estate agent, and how I was not ready for my son's birthday party. And I set up, I got like 300 views, and 20 people commented on it, and 3 of my contacts called me and set up coffee meetings. And a realtor friend of mine said, that was so unprofessional when I was finished. And
They said it was unprofessional?
Yeah, it was unprofessional because I didn't know what I was doing.
Who cares?
And then I said, okay, so I tried to do more professional videos about like first-time buyers, and no one watched them, no one commented on them.
No, they want to see you. Yeah, be you. Totally be you, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
If you swear a lot, swear a lot. If you never swear, don't swear. Like,
And you said I can swear.
yeah, Greg and I do video chats sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're just littered back and forth with things that we're not going to say on stage here.
I didn't swear until I was 32, I'm making up for lost time. Okay, so we literally have 33 seconds. Is that a question?
Yes, one question, real quick. How important are the backgrounds?
Or what?
Backgrounds, what's behind you, what's around you?
Depends on what's behind you.
What's more important is the light in front of you. Uncomfortable lighting is way more important than the background.
Just make sure it's not like a toilet that hasn't been flushed.
So the best background that I like is go in early to your office when nobody else is there, and you've got the front desk with the signage behind you. It's well lit. That was always a good backdrop for me. And then if it wasn't light enough, I would bring one of those floodlights that the auto mechanics use, and I would just plug it in and hit the ceiling, and I mean, it's better than nothing. But the lighting is way more important than the background.
It's super cheap to get lighting on like Amazon or something.
Yeah. Do you know another really cheap lighting source is? It's the sunshine. Right, so I'm like super cheap and I don't have any lighting, so I literally position myself so I'm in front of the window, and that's my lighting system. So we're out of time. We've run through our hour. Thank you so much, you guys, for your participation today.